Welcome back to the podcast with me, your host, Pete Tigers. As ever, I'm trying to evolve and make the podcast interesting for you, and I thought it might be fun for you to join me for the day in my role as editor of Trout Salmon. But this is a little bit different, so we're going to start the day off with a rod test. So we're going to do one on the river. I'm not going to give too much away about what's in there, but a little bit about how it takes place, and meeting up with Rob Hardy, and we have a guest along as well. One of the things I wanted to do with the reviews is bring a member of the public along. So Roger's going to be joining us as well, so we'll get his feedback on it, and you get a sense of how these are all put together and the people behind it. And then the next thing is that we've got one of our gatherings later in the day at the Orvis store in Stockbridge. And we've got some great guests coming along to that. So I'm going to try and capture a little bit of that. And then what I'm going to be doing is camping in my van overnight. It'll be the first one of the year. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm meeting up with Richard Baker, who I work with, and we're going to do some fishing. Probably won't record anything from that. That's just a day's pleasure fishing, catching up, talking about the magazine and talking about our plans. And I'm really, really looking forward to that as well. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and enjoy your day along with me.
11 if we get the G.
We had a good breakfast at the farm shop. We talked hardly surprisingly about fishing and hardly surprisingly about tackle too. It's been great to see friend and colleague Rob Hardy this morning, who got up bright and early, has driven down. We're in Wiltshire, we're on the Wiley, we're on the Wilton Club water at the moment, and we're doing a rod test today. So we've got 10 rods. We're not going to tell you the names of them because you're going to be able to read about them in the magazine. But Rob is a stalwart of these sorts of events, and I just thought it would be really nice for you to get an inside look as to how these things actually work. So Rob, it's great to see you and to catch up. And tell us how the events, how the rod review actually, how you go about putting one together.
Well, obviously, we try to get the mixture of brands, so everybody's got not only the brands get a chance, but the readers get a chance to see all the latest rods that are out there. We're doing 9-foot-4 weights. Each of those rods will be cast with at least 3 different lines. Generally, we have one that's slightly over line weight, one that's bang on lightweight, and then a more sort of technical taper with a longer front. And that, I think, the one thing I've learned over doing more of these rod tests over the years is what a huge difference that can actually make to the rod's action. And so the more we can feed back to the reader how the rods react to each of those lines, then the more information, people can go in when they're actually buying one and say, that sort of rod has got that sort of action, that suits my fishing, and I'll put this side of the line on it.
And I'm really looking to try some of these things. And it's really nice for people to know because, we've had you on the podcast and you've talked about how you try and have a broad range of things, and we've got a broad price point for all of these rods today, and there's no sort of favoritism or anything like that, is there? It's just we wind them up and try and give as much advice as we possibly can and how the rod feels and casts too, right?
Well, to be honest, yourself and Roger there, I won't tell you the price. I mean, you'll see the brand. Obviously, you'll see the brand of the rod, but I don't say the price to you because I feel that shouldn't be an influence. I know, lots of people say you get what you pay for, and generally, but I think that will come out in the test. And I don't want to influence you guys as testers in any other way than less, at least possible. So, yes, the price will be on the end test, but it's really down to the reader to make their own mind up what price point they want to spend and what they're looking for.
With these reviews as well, what is it that you're trying to get across to people?
I think it's, as I say, if we can give you, the reader, the information, we try to be positive, what these rods are good at. If one of them's not particular, I mean, the bad rods these days barely exist, but there will be plus points and sort of other not so good. So as long as we could give some information about what these rods are good for, what sort of line they sort of react to, whether they're a slower action, quicker action, whether they're going to suit a type of cast or a type of water. And then, as I say, it's really then for the reader to make up their own mind on whether they think that rod is the one that suits them.
That's some great advice. And one of the things we're really keen on, and Rob mentioned the 3 sorts of fly lines, one of the things I'm certainly, and I know we talked about, is giving the reader a good idea of what line works best, to point them in the right direction. Say, look, this works with a true to line weight, or as Rob was saying, we've got some technical tapers that are slightly more delicate on the front taper there, and then lines that are slightly more aggressive. And I think if that helps people get set up and an idea, then that I think that sort of information is useful. We're using one brand of them at the moment, but I've always said as well that with rods, if a company does their own fly lines, that's a really, really good place to start, because you know that the blank has probably been tested with a fly line that they have manufactured, I'm sure, along with many others as well. But do you tend to feel that way too?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I mean, obviously the rod manufacturers will use a preferred line, and therefore, obviously, fine tune that rod for that line. And that's not to say that another line is not going to work on there, but as you say, I think it's a very good starting point.
So we've got a little bit of a downstream, well, it's sort of coming across us at the moment, but we've not got flies on for obviously this test, although I have seen a fish rise already while we've been standing there off the main flow in some softer water at the moment. But I'm also thrilled to be joined by Roger Fagan, president of the Wilton Fishing Club. And one of the things I was really keen with these reviews is having a member of the public along, a angler, and get a sense of what they feel about it as well. So I can cast a fly rod a little bit, Rob can, and I know Roger can too, but I just wanted to say a big thank you for coming along, Roger. Are you looking forward to this?
I'm really looking forward to this. It's quite exciting for me. There's an arms race going on with fishing rods and fishing equipment. The R&D budgets are huge, and I think I'd just like to test them and give somebody a real-world appreciation of what I find them to be like, so that the hard-earned cash can be better spent.
That's some great advice. I feel like a kid in the candy store right now. There's about 10 rods in front of us. It's quite nice to have a look at them, isn't it?
Yeah, there's quite an amazing array here with different finishes and different handles and fittings. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they perform with the lines, and particularly where we are. And this wind could be challenging, but let's see how we get on with it. It's going to be good.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to that. So, Rob, how do you go about this? Do we choose a rod and then we're both going to cast it and then change the lines on it? How do you like to do these?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll set up the first of the rods, and then between the two of you, if you cast it with the first line, obviously between the two of you, you feedback that to me. I'll be running backwards and forwards, taking notes between you, taking pictures, and then as and when you want, I will change the lines, and we'll just work our way through them, and until you're happy. Generally, it comes down at the end, because although, as I say, we leave it to the reader to make the final choice, we will probably do a recommended, what we feel is generally probably the best all-rounder or something, and that often comes down to 2 or 3 rods, and so we'll recast them, or you'll recast them, you guys, and until you're absolutely sort of you're in a position where you can make a decision, if you can make a decision. Sometimes it's so close that we just have to say there's nothing between them.
Well, this is really, really exciting. So we're going to string some rods up now and give them a go. That's a rod test done. I'm going to get the thoughts from Rob and Roger shortly. But for me, it's been a really interesting exercise, and it's been a difficult one as well, because I really enjoyed it. But we often say there's no such thing as a bad rod, and I've just had the perfect example of casting 10 rods that have all been really, really good. And like I said at the beginning, we spent a lot of time trying the different lines on them as well. So what I've tried to do and what we've tried to do is give you feedback on those as well, so that this rod suits this sort of line best, and we think this one might be a little bit better, so try this. So hopefully there's some great information there. I've liked all of them. There's arguments, and it's come down to micro differences, nuances of the rod that have suited my style, which has been really, really good fun. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and Rob's going to be writing it up. He's taking some great photos as well, so you'll be able to see that. It'll be in the July edition of the magazine. We penciled it in for there, so it should be in there. Again, if you're interested in what we're doing with trout and salmon and you want to explore it, I found a cheaper way that we can get it to you by subscribing and getting 20% off. So it works out a good value by visiting the Trout and Salmon website and putting FC2025 in. You'll get 20% off your subscription as well. So, and what we try, as I've always said on here, is to try and make the magazine a little bit different. Each issue, I want you to feel, what's going to be in this one? And that's what I'm working really, really hard to do with Richard and the team, to bring something that's fresh and interesting each month for you. So I'm going to go and grab Rob and Roger. They're having a good chat. I can hear them in the hut at the moment chatting, so I'm going to catch up with them and see if we can get some feedback from them. So that's the rod test concluded. Roger, was that fun?
It was great fun, and what a revelation. What I had no idea about was the difference that different lines make on the same rod. And that is something I'm going to explore and look into further. Your description of the true line weight was quite surprising compared to the ones that had a more aggressive profile. What I've realised, or what I've reinforced for myself, is you don't always have to buy the brand. Sometimes brands that we perceive to be lower in the marketplace actually are equally comparable in performance to some of the more expensive rods. And we shouldn't be frightened of using a cheaper, perceived cheaper brand over something more expensive, because at the end of the day we want to do good casting to catch fish. That's what it's all about.
Do you think that tells us that these days, and it is that old Hackney's phrase, and I've just been recording something around the corner saying about that, it's hard to buy a bad rod, isn't it?
We had 10 rods here today, ranging in price, and I don't think you can separate some of them at all. They were so close, overlapping, and I don't think any of them could be said to be a bad rod.
More importantly, did you enjoy it?
I loved every moment of it. It's been a revelation. I'm pleased the hail didn't continue, and I'm now going to go fishing.
I think we're going to do the same. I'd like to say a massive thank you for hosting us and being part of this.
My pleasure, and the club's pleasure. Thanks, Pete.
Rob, that was great fun. I know this is nothing new to you. You've been doing these things for years and years and years. Is there anything that you spot or see from these things that makes you think about a piece of tackle or anything that you noticed today that you thought was kind of interesting?
I think there's the thing about the development of the rods, even over a short period, that the last 6 or 7 years that I've been doing this, as you rightly say, and Roger's just said there, that the development has come on, and I think while the top end performers, if you like, brands or whatever you want to call that, have certainly made advances. For me, the mid range has just become has become so good that they are really pushing the boundaries now. And as you say, there's barely a bad rod on the market these days. And lines are just the same. And I think, again, I've learned, if there's one thing I've learned over doing these rod tests, whether it's single-handed, double-handed, whatever, is the difference that getting a good matching line can make. And we did speak about it earlier, but it's interesting that Roger's, he's a real epiphany at times.
That's really pleasing. Well, where we were doing the rod test, there was a fish rising consistently, despite the fact that we were flailing around all over the place. It looked like there was some large brook duns coming down. I just saw a yellow may a few moments ago. There's some olives. I think I've just seen a danica actually just in a back eddy there now as well. So I think we should go and try and catch fish.
I think we should definitely try to catch a fish. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting that, I mean, we creep and crawl around as trout fishermen on a river. We've just stood there, probably put, I don't know, 100 casts or something, and the fishes just continue to rise constantly. It just shows you. But yeah, I think we should go and try to find some rising fish, don't you?
That's going to be the plan. What a pleasant couple of hours that was. The lovely thing about this is that I speak to Rob regularly, and I saw him at the BFFI show in February, and it's nice just to get the chance to fish with somebody as well. And we've had a lovely time just sharing a rod, casting dry flies, mainly at rising fish when we can find them. We didn't put our rain jackets on, and of course the rain came, but that's been fine. It's stopped now, and I'm about to head off to Stockbridge to the Orvis shop for the show tonight, and Rob's heading home. But that was fun, mate, wasn't it?
Oh, that was great fun, yeah. I mean, just a couple of hours after the rod test, so and I think we fished, no more than about 100 yards of river, but we picked off some nice fish, a couple of very good grayling, and Pete finished it off there with a really nice brown trout that I talked him on to.
He definitely did. Yeah, he definitely did. He guided me. He said, "There's one up here on the left. I've seen it rise. And amazingly, I got the fly in the right place, and amazingly, I set on it as well. And it's fascinating. You can sometimes overanalyze stuff. We caught one fish, I think, on a mayfly. We thought we'd try, but we moved from emergers onto a pheasant tail, sort of done with a shuck on the back. It's in the Patagonia book, and I'm a big fan of that fly, and it caught us some fish there as well. So that was really good. It's been a wonderful couple of hours. Like Rob said, we haven't travelled very far, but we've caught a bunch of fish, which is really, really nice. So I'm really pleased. And it's nice when you speak to someone, now lives revolve around fishing, that you get to fish with them as well, and you get to share your shared passion as well. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. Rob, it's going to be a relatively long drive for you home tonight. What's the music going to be? Is it a music? Is it a podcast? What you listen to in the car?
No, I'll definitely be listening to some sort of music, just to keep me sort of interested and doing my thing. But I mean, my go-to, as I think we've mentioned in the past, would be some sort of 60s rock, old hippie that I think I am. But yeah, it'll be definitely something along those lines. We were saying about the birds earlier, weren't we? I mean that certainly could be first on the list.
Good choice, and thank you for today. I'm really looking forward to seeing the review in the magazine next month as well. So thank you for pulling everything together. This is a huge task that Rob's organised rods from everybody. And I guess at times it must be a bit like trying to herd cats, but he's done it and he's pulled it off, and it's been really, really good fun. He's taken notes on everything as well. So I'm really looking forward to see when it comes out. So I'd like to say thank you, Rob, for that. Have a safe journey back. And thanks for a great day, my friend.
No, absolute pleasure, Peter, and it's been a really good opportunity to be able to fish together. I mean, we've chatted and as we do over the phone and that, but to have a couple of hours just wandering the river and talking, that's been fantastic. Thank you.
The lovely thing about travelling from where I've been on the Wiley to Stockbridge, I went the country route. I didn't go on the 303, and I've passed over so many rivers. I saw the Avon, pressed my nose up against the window there and had a look. I think I saw the Bourne as well, passed along there, which was wonderful to see. But eventually in this Orvis store in Stockbridge, and I'm with Ollie. And how are things with you, my friend?
Brilliant. I tell you, it's perfect. I mean, apart from we've had a bit of a cold snap this last few days, but the build up to that, when the rain had stopped, we couldn't have asked for it better. Looks like the mayfly are on point, they're on time. These last few days, we've seen them on the windows. The cold snap might put them down a bit, but the fishermen have been coming in super keen. We've had them here at the door queuing at about 8:30. We opened the store obviously at 8:30 as well. So yeah, it's everything. Yeah, I think the stars have aligned. I mean, the water is looking great. I mean, that rain we had, though we were cursing it earlier on in the year, it's filled the aquifers right up. The water's running clear. It's, perfect conditions. A little bit windy, but we've always got an excuse, haven't we, with anglers? So.
And you made some changes to the store a few years back, and it was interesting. I was speaking to Aaron at an event at Lakedown, I think it was last year, the year before, something like that. And it seems to me as though, I'm looking at now a table in the front window with some chairs around it. And community, is that a word that's important to you, and from a fishing perspective and beyond?
I think really what we wanted to do when we sort of changed the direction and really we're sort of focusing on fishing, but let's not forget we still do the clothing, and it's ideal for whether you're a bird watcher or obviously an angler. But really what we want to look at and with our community is be more than a store. So holding events like tonight, the F3T event we had a month or so ago at the town hall. Obviously we start off in here, kick it off down to the town hall. It's really just trying to make it aware to everybody that fly fishing is for the whole community. It's not this elitist sport that a lot of people sort of pigeonhole it in. It's, it's something that we have. When we have half term for the schools, we do family fun mornings on a Monday. So the first day of the half term, if you like. And that's a 45-minute course. I normally run them because I've got kids, so I know how to clip them around the ear. So, and we do that course, and it's great. It always rolls over to an hour. The kids love it. They really embrace it. So it's really starting with those young acorns and developing them into these oak trees. That's what we're looking at. And it's just, it's getting everybody involved. Let's get away from them and us. Let's get away from, is it only men angling? No, it's for everybody. Every walk of life. And that's what we're all about.
Wise words, like that a lot. And, it is a real, Aladdin's Cave's the wrong term for it, because there's so much stuff in here, and I've been in and I ran out of float, and of course it's very, very easy to pick some up here, but already there's people around here. The store's got that fly fishing store, and of course you're an American company, aren't you? But it's got that I've been in many fly fishing stores in the States. It's got that feel about it. People are asking you about how's the fishing going, and it feels like a central hub for particularly this time of year, and it is very, very famous, isn't it? Let's be honest about that. The chalk streams and mayfly, although we get them throughout the country, is synonymous, isn't it? It is the hatch. And it feels as though you sort of land when you drive down here. I look for rod racks on cars and I see logos of guides. Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a local fashion accessory. Like you say, rod racks strapped to the Range Rovers and all the four-wheel drives. I seem to be going down the elitist route there, but it just seems to be four-wheel drive city. It is that the mayfly. It's like Christmas for us. It's that cornerstone, that bedrock of the fly fishing community. Right, mayfly. At Stockbridge itself, Orvis, synonymous. We are the first Orvis store in the UK back in the early 80s with my store 2 doors up. We're obviously now in this location because it's a bigger space. The mayfly is what it's all about. And it is really, because it comes in so early in the season. We open the rivers here about the 3rd of April. You think mayfly landing first, second week of May. To a lot of people, it's the start of the trout season, is the mayfly. So that's the door opening, and that. But at the same time, it's that tsunami wave of the anglers, and that's what they've been waiting for. They're itching to get in and cast a rod and get their line wet. So
Well, I'm going into comedy mode. You mean itching as in river to get going?
Well, that would be testing.
You're much better than this than I am anyway. But I was going to ask you about how does fly fishing feel to you? Because you're seeing these sorts of things. You're seeing people come in. You talked about youngsters and nurturing them and bringing those through. But generally, the age of people in there, I would say, is a good younger age of people who are actually in the store at the moment. But how's it feeling to you as a whole, fly fishing at the moment?
Oh, I don't know if you spotted the 2 young lads come in then. They were one of our first clients in this morning. Both bought 2 Mighty Mites. That's the Encounter series of rod for children. But yeah, you're right. Most fundamentally, the people who are coming in here day in, day out are going to be, and let's not pigeonhole them because we don't want to do that, but it's anywhere between, it's quite a wide bandwidth, it's anywhere between 20 and probably late 60s, early 70s. We get some really old school anglers, fantastic, like so much history. I mean, I think the great thing about fly fishing, every day's a school day. I learn something new every day. You know, whether it's someone telling me how to cast a dry fly and use mud, not use mud, and this is jargon that a lot of people might not understand, or put a bit of wiggle in the line, keep the line speed, all these things, you know, it's every day is a learning day. There's our two young anglers there who came in this morning. So we've broken that barrier. The age group is now no longer a barrier. It's not this affluent 50-plus-year-old, it's everybody, you know, and that goes to show with my associates who work in the store. You know, I have lads 18, 19, 21 years of age, right up to people who have retired. So, and I think having that, you've got the experience, you've got people who can talk to anybody, any walk of life, and it works really well. You know, the only thing is, if you've got to work here or want to work here, you have to be an angler. There's no way around it.
That works for me. Well, let's hope we have some fun tonight. I think we got a few people coming along, haven't we?
It's going to be a house full. It's going to be a party, isn't it?
We'll see what we can do, mate.
Excellent.
All right, bub.
Nice to talk to you. Cheerio.
The lovely thing about this is that I bumped into Jonathan Durant. Now, if you're a regular reader of the magazine and you read the reports from the Hampshire part of the world, you'll know that Jonathan compiles them. So I didn't know he was going to be here today, but it's lovely to actually meet the person behind the words. So, Jonathan, it's lovely to meet you. Where are you based and how's your fishing right now?
So we're based everybody would say it's the middle test, but it's actually the lower test. It's about 2 miles north of Romsey, and we have some 3 3/4 miles of river test bank, and at the moment we have the most enormous mayfly hatch, which is a huge pleasure to see. They are in fact 2 days early, because my birthday's on the 16th of May, and they normally arrive on the 16th of May, but they're early this time on the 14th, and they're coming out in their hundreds. So in a week or so's time they'll be coming out in their thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And it never ceases to give me pleasure to see them dancing and flying all over the water meadows in their profusion. And it takes me back to when I was a child. I think I must have been about 7 or 8, and I was with my late father. We were in the car and we were driving down the Test Valley, and he had to pull over in a lay-by to clear the windscreen because there were so many mayflies stuck on it. So that's always been my first memory of mayflies.
And for you, being so up close and personal with them, is it sometimes the case that you don't always need to hold a rod? You can sit and watch this dance evolve and unfold in front of you?
Well, I always say that one of the natural 7 wonders of the world should be the mayfly hatch. And yes, it gives us much pleasure to watch them emerge, fly off, shake a tree, and you see them all fall out and dancing around. And they last for such a short period of time, but they come every single year in, year out. So I've been doing this for over 40 years, and they've never, ever missed a beat. And I think it is extraordinary that this wild animal can repeat this performance every single year. And of course, everybody says it's the great time to go fishing, Duffer's Fortnight. But actually, Duffer's Fortnight can be really, really difficult, especially when you've got thousands of them on the water. And finding the right pattern, and particularly if it's attached to a piece of string, I'd see no reason why the fish wouldn't refuse it. So, it's a great, wonderful phenomenon. Which
I hope this year treats you as well as all the others.
Thank you very much indeed.
Had the first night in the van tonight. Slept really, really well. It's funny. I always think and worry that I'm not going to be able to sleep. There's going to be noise and stuff like that. But I think I was just tired. It'd been a super busy day. And then I found out that Jan Hobbit was staying in the same campsite as well. So we had a nice chat about life in general before going to sleep. It's been a fun day. It's been a busy day. Really, really enjoyed it. And it moves on a little bit further now as well, because Richard, who I work with, is coming down. We're going to have a fried breakfast, and we're going to go fishing together. And I can't wait to do that. He's somebody I speak to every day, sometimes more. and really enjoy our chats. So I'm really enjoying going fishing with him as well, and I'm looking forward to that immensely. So that should be some fun. But again, I've tried with this podcast to make it just a little bit different and to mix the content up and get a little bit of a look inside of a day in my new role. It's a busy day, this one, but really enjoyable. So I'd like to say I'm a bit bleary-eyed, so apologies, but I'd like to say thank you for listening to this. Thank you to everyone who came along to the event as well. It was really good fun to catch up with people, and people say some kind things about what we're doing and what we're trying to do. So it's always lovely to hear that. And yeah, loved every second of it. So, and I get to go fishing today as well. So thank you for listening to the podcast. If you are enjoying it, think about subscribing. We put these out every week, or I put these out every week, and I'll continue doing them. I just so enjoy doing them. So they're really good fun. So thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Fly Culture podcast, brought to you in association with the Voice of Game Angling, Trout and Salmon, where Pete is the editor.